Last week, we talked about empowerment in social group. I asked the kids what they already knew about empowerment. They immediately picked out the word power, but with a little bit of digging, also acknowledged that it's something different than just straight up power. It has to do with something you care about and using your power to move that care forward and out into the world. But they weren't wrong in power being part of the word empowerment. So we broke down 3 specific types of power. And if you are interested in learning more about this, this is from Brené Brown's book, Dare to Lead, and her podcast, Dare to Lead. The first type of power, power over, is kind of what kids go to first because so much of their lives are filled with power over, where one person or one organization is the big boss over other people or another person. Doesn't always have to be bad. Sometimes kids really appreciate somebody having power over decision making or plans in the house or keeping order and rules. But sometimes power over can just feel bad to kids. Power with is when 2 people combine their inner power to make something happen. So it's joining up, teaming up. It could be a parent and a child. It could be 2 kids. It could be a teacher and a child, 2 teachers. The kids intuitively understood what this meant. And then lastly, we talked about power within, and that is where we really needed to settle for this lesson about empowerment. So power within is using our own personal power to do the things that we truly care about for ourselves and for others. We spent some time talking about doing for others with our internal power because I think it's a clear picture that kids naturally understand. We looked at 2 short videos that will both be in the comments. Both are by CBS Evening News' Steve Hartman, On the Road with Steve Hartman segments. The first was about a young girl named Vivian, who's 7 years old, who liked to play with army figurines and was seriously bothered when she found that there were no women army figures. So she took it upon herself to write a letter the best she could to several toy companies, and somebody heard her and took her request seriously. And it happened. So this year, this Christmas, there are female army soldiers that children can have for toys. So Vivian used her inner power to make things happen for herself and for other kids. We also looked at Ruby's story. She's an 11-year-old girl who went to visit nursing home residents with her mom, who was a nurse, and started to ask the residents what their 3 wishes would be, and then found the power within to start granting those simple but very powerful wishes. Ruby's story inspired kids all over the country to start chapters of similar organizations, and Ruby now talks to large groups of adults. So we could quickly tell that Vivian cared about equality and that Ruby really cared about helping people who are older. But then I asked the kids, what do they really, really care about? And their list came fast and furious. And I did ask them to think beyond the things like their family and their own safety in their own home. Although those are very important things and they should really, really care about them, I asked them to think a little bit wider. And they came up with quite a thoughtful list. Sometimes it can feel to kids like the big problems in the world are way outside of their empowerment. But we have learned that that's not necessarily true. Sometimes using your caring heart and combining it with some good ideas and the support of your parents can lead to making a real empowered change in the world. I asked the kids to consider what they could do to make a difference and empowered them to talk to their families about a simple project or some simple actions that could make a difference. As always, if you have questions or if you have comments, feel free to shoot me an email and I will get back to you just as soon as I can. Have a great week.